Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 246 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 of the Spark Podcast Network. Josh Roy joined alongside Nathan Dirk as per usual. We're live on our YouTube channel and back on our Terminal City FC Twitter page because I paid for the check mark and they gave me a good deal. So yeah, we're live on YouTube and Twitter and listening to wherever you get your podcasts. So before we start, I just want to say that this podcast is now partnered with Edge Hunters, and this involves sports betting. Well, this is not your typical gambling app or website or whatever. It's match betting. So basically, how this works is the sports books give you sign-up bonuses to new customers for whatever sports betting platform, whether that be Play Now, Bet99, or Sports Interaction. And Edge Hunters calculates and shows you how to cover both sides of the bet, so you can lock in the bonus regardless of who wins. So yeah, you basically cover both sides of the bet, and no matter what happens, you profit.
It's hedging your bets. It's one of the first of its kind, and it's really cool in terms of kind of lowering the risk of any sort of betting that you're doing.
Yeah, I went through it earlier this week, and it took less than 20 minutes. Made a little bit of profit. It's calculations, not luck. You aren't predicting anything, and you get bonuses from whatever sportsbook they offer. You must be 19 plus to use here in BC, 18 plus in Alberta, I believe 19 plus the rest of Canada. Obviously, please use your money responsibly. And the link is in the description on all our podcast forums and on our YouTube channel. So that is Edge Hunters. Click the link for our referral link in the description. So, Vancouver Whitecaps. One win, one loss. Let's start with the win down at Lumen Field in Seattle. It took them a while to get going, but for the most part, they pretty much dominated Seattle and ended up getting the 2-0 win and the Cascadia Cup for the second straight year.
Yeah, first half, like you said, you know what? It wasn't that it was a poor half. It was just a half that we've become accustomed to in where they're dominating possession, but they're having difficulty getting any sort of, clear-cut chances. First half was 8 shots. Only one actually hit the target. But the one thing for me that was the big difference of the game was actually getting inside the opposition's 18-yard box. You don't create chances at all if you're not getting in positions for chances to actually happen. And that's been the biggest problem is the Whitecaps have been very, very poor as of late in getting into the opposition's box. 42 touches inside the opposition's box in this game. That's more than the previous 3 Leagues Cup matches combined. So it just tells you how much more dangerous the Whitecaps were in this match.
Yeah, better movement, better attacking. The back line, the midfield, all did their job. Seattle only had 5 shots, but none were on Yohei Takaoka. But second half, Manuel Sabi runs down the wing after taking Tristan Blackman's pass, and Ryan Lumi, with all that space, beats Andrew Thomas for his first goal in MLS this season, which was much, much needed for him.
Yeah, it was really, really nice to see. It was an excellent take as well. He kind of just took it single, but he allowed it to roll into him. And there was patience in setting up the shot and kind of seeing where he wanted to place it. The other thing I want to point out is Thomas Mueller. There's been a little bit of criticism about him as of late, but this was definitely him back up to form. Joined most touches inside the opposition box, took the most shots. And we actually got to see a rare indirect free kick that led to a goal. Not something you get to see every day.
Yeah, but I don't know what Nuhu and Andrew were thinking, which led to this. So Nuhu passes back to the box. The rule is a goalkeeper cannot scoop it up, back pass in the box to prevent time wasting. Andrew Thomas did that. Indirect free kick. And Thomas Mueller makes them pay for their mistake with the indirect free kick goal, though Andrew Thomas decided to stand behind the wall instead of covering the area to his left, and that's when he scored.
It's Nuhu's always an interesting player because he's one of those guys that every time the Whitecaps come up against him, he plays really well. He is a great, strong defender. He's aggressive, and he was. You could argue whether or not he was wholly responsible for Javine Badwell being on concussion protocol now, because there was a few, let's call them testy challenges. But you can always be guaranteed that there's going to be at least one boneheaded mistake in every match, at least every time that we've played him. He does really, really, really well. And then there's that one moment where if you can capitalize it, you're off to the races.
Yeah, and the Whitecaps did. Knew who put that like an elbow back of the head on Jeevan Badwal. For some reason, there was no call, so he had to come off. Still in concussion protocol. Sabby moved back to the wing. Lumi up top. Turned out, having a Lumi back up top worked.
I will say, though,
Ryan
for the
Gauld
few minutes
Thomas
that we
Muller
did get to see Emmanuel Sabby up top, I did enjoy the runs that he was making. I thought that is a position that we know Sabby can play. We don't normally see him there, but I think he is at least, it's a very, very brief sample size, but I think he is capable at moving into that position when you do have, injuries that are affecting your squad.
Yeah, and a lot of players play.
I think the other thing we need to talk about is just Seattle themselves. They're a team that's having a lot of difficulty right now. Very, very, very hard for them. Schmetzer has actually come under a little bit of pressure as of late over their record. They have not won in MLS in over 5 matches. And
8 now, yeah.
8, there you go, right? I think their only win in the recent was a 3-0 win against Terra in Leagues Cup, and that seems to be a bit of an anomaly. They're desperate. They need some additions into the lineup. I know they have brought in 1 or 2 players, but right now it's looking pretty dire for Seattle, and it's not a position we're accustomed to seeing this team in.
Yeah, Brian Schmetzer, after the Whitecaps game and the Austin game, which they also lost, kind of hinted, there needs to be fresh blood, because a lot of their players that are new are from their second team, the Tacoma Defiance, and they have not made a summer signing since 2021 when they signed Leo Chu, which is crazy.
The other thing I think we need to say is Izos Fiera, who joined them from Texas. I don't really know if he's worked out. He's had 18 matches, started 15 of them, only 2 goals, 3 assists. For a guy that you expect to do well, this guy, I mean, he's been a DP before. Since he has moved on, and yes, this is a player that's also dealt with injuries previously, but he has not returned to kind of the Izos Fiera that he once was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, this is a guy who went to the World Cup in Qatar.
Yeah.
Really
started a match in Qatar.
Yeah. And yeah, Seattle has so many injuries that you can't count on one hand. But yeah, it's a team that needs a fresh blood. But for the Whitecaps, it was a good win, a 2-0 win. Second straight Cascadia Cup. That's always nice to have.
Yeah.
And it felt like the Whitecaps were back to their winning ways. And then the other day, against Houston at BC Place, with their 5 at the back, park the bus, Harambo, whatever you want to call it, has not conceded a goal in 4 straight heading into the game. Did not concede a goal against the Whitecaps, as low blocks are another issue still. 17 attempts, only 1 on target, and Emmanuel Sabby's weak shot right at Jonathan Bond early in the second half.
I will say, in the first half, it was a much more even affair in terms of Seattle actually coming out and attacking the Whitecaps. It was a little bit of a different system that the Whitecaps really haven't faced. We didn't see that low block get implemented until after the goal, and I would say even it was into the second half. Now, this is a game where, especially in the second half, you take a look at possession numbers. Whitecaps had 70% of possession in the second half alone. That's where the bulk of their chances came. But only 1 shot on target, like you said. And this was something that even Jesper Sorensen said in his press conference afterwards, that right now finishing is poor. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. This is another game where the Whitecaps were getting touches inside the box. They were in positions to create chances like they were with Seattle, but they weren't actually creating them in this one. This is where it's a little bit frustrating, because the thing is there was a lot to like about this game.
So much to like.
There was so much to like
the ball
about
movement
this
in
game.
the first half.
I mean, we could talk about for half an hour about Matias Laborda if you want to. Was absolutely phenomenal. Best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
But the finishing on this squad right now is very, very suspect. And I mean, you can argue Brian White's not in the lineup. You know, he's dealing with a little bit of a niggle as well. You can deal with, or you can talk about the fact that everyone wants to see Ryan Gauld and Thomas Müller on the pitch at the same time. And that when we saw that in the second half, you know, magic started to happen. But that's, I mean, you can ask for these things and demand these things all you want. But when you're playing matches every 3 games, when you're dealing with a number of injuries all across, you know, your roster in multiple positions, that's just not going to happen. You're not going to get a Ryan Gauld, who's only played his second full 90 minutes since coming back from injury just now. His other one previously back in Leagues Cup in Mexico in Monterrey. You're not going to see Thomas Müller play 90 minutes every 3 days, not at, 36, 37 years old.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So right now, the rotation policy is staying. It's a matter of trying to figure out how to deal with the limitations that you have and still make it work. Not just run people into the ground, which is all that's going to do, is just contribute even more to your injuries.
Yeah, let's not forget Ryan Gauld had surgery in the winter on his knee.
Too.
So,
which is also
and Emmanuel Savage also coming back from surgery as well.
I'm sorry, but debridement just sounds horrible.
Yeah, but Matias Laborda saved a goal, looked good with the ball, and the Whitecaps had good chances in the first half. Ryan Alumi and Gauld had chances that were blocked at the last second.
Yeah,
and then there was one before halftime where Emmanuel Sabi took Larraz's cross and he just hit the post, the outside of the post. Had to be better there. And speaking of Larraz, he kept trying to score a screamer like Berhalter did, and they weren't even close.
Here's the thing: I'm not too sure if I should be applauding the attempts or being frustrated that he's not taking the half second to at least set himself or to look for the outlet pass, because a lot of these chances are well beyond 20 yards out. And I get it. We're accustomed to seeing Berhalter being able to hit some of these balls and, get these kind of worldly sort of goals. Larraz isn't there yet. I'm not saying that he's not going to be.
Not that guy. But
yeah, I'm torn whether to be happy that he's taking, what might be, a minimal risk, or just not being a bit more pragmatic.
Yeah, I get it, but let's the same. Berhalter's that box-to-box guy.
I'm going to say he's not Berhalter right now. I'm not going to say that he won't be, because Berhalter a year and a half ago wasn't Berhalter either.
Larraz is 24 and he's entering his prime. He's not young anymore. Yeah. So Larraz is Larraz. Berhalter was Berhalter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like you said, good for the effort, but maybe he should have taken a step to think and look for the outlet pass to someone, or maybe wait to take the shot before firing it into Rosie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, then there was also the Houston goal. Credit to them, actually. Mateus Bogus was stopped by Hector Herrera.
Yeah, this was actually quite a good take by Franco Negri. Not the easiest of shots. Sharp angle outside of the box, but wrapped his right foot around it, hit it off kind of the far post and in. Very little that Yohei Takioka could do on this one. He actually takes
no way he was stopping.
One brilliant shot.
Yeah, and we mentioned Larraz. And the Whitecaps did score a goal in this game. Let's not forget, but it was called off due to a foul. It looked like on Kubas initially on the broadcast, but it was apparently on Larraz, just like during the build-up. Let's actually bring it up here since I did not see it in the stadium.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this too.
Yeah, let me just bring it up here. Hold on a second. There's an ad for the highlights.
See, the one thing is when I see stuff like this, there. Go ahead, yeah, show it.
No, it's still loading.
Okay. The one thing is when I see ones like this, I always wonder, like, at how far back in the play should VAR be allowed to intervene? Because yes, you can say it's in the build-up to the play, but are we looking at the last 20 seconds? Are we looking at the last 45, a minute? Like, at what point is it not just the build-up and it was a foul that was in play that was, whether it was a minute ago or whether it was half an hour ago? This seemed like it was quite a ways back.
Yeah, it was. And this was a controversy during the World Cup too, especially with Egypt and Argentina. Okay,
yes, very true.
Bring up it here. Here's go back a little. So yeah, good on Illumi for actually getting into space to find Sabi's pass. Yeah. Shame, because that would have been goals in back-to-back games, but here it is. Right here. So the ball looks like it's away from Hector Herrera. And then Larraz clips him from behind.
I'm still a proponent of VAR, but the one thing that still befuddles me is how long it has taken the footballing world to figure out how to properly use it. Name another sport that has brought in some form of video replay. They figured it out. Yes, there have been tweaks along the way, but to the level of controversy that football can't figure this out, I don't understand why they can't come up with a set of clear rules when everyone else seems to be able to do so.
Yeah, and the rule is just clear and obvious, which is very vague. Though from this angle, look at this angle, though. It's, for those watching, it does look like Larraz follows Herrera, because the ball's a couple inches away from him. Though you could argue Herrera sold this one.
It's also another one of those things that once you call the ref to the pitch side monitor and you slow everything down to a frame by frame, everything also looks a lot worse than it actually is.
This angle I think this is the best angle.
You know what, though?
Right.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're not creating chances or you're not converting your chances. And when you only have one shot on target out of 17, you need to be doing better at that first rather than worrying about the referee.
Yeah. And I should also mention that Larraz was hit in the head right before full time in the penalty box. For some reason, the ref wasn't called to the monitor. It was nowhere near Larraz.
Yeah.
So it's just consistency. People have issues with. I have issues with the referees and VAR.
Yeah.
Looking at that angle now from the.
And for me, I would say it's just consistency with referees. VAR isn't anything other than just a tool for referees, right? VAR is not making the call. It's the human that's watching the screen making the call. So there needs to be consistency from the actual people using these tools.
Yeah, though looking at that angle now, with on Illumi's goal being disallowed, I think that might have been the right call.
Fair enough.
You could argue all day if Herrera dived, but the one on Larraz near the end, that should have been called.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, but it doesn't matter if you only have one shot on target. It doesn't matter, and 11 were all attempted. Yeah, Houston, credit to them for their back five, though. Like 5 straight without conceding.
Yeah, you can be angry about low blocks all you want, but right now, you know what? This was something I was thinking about earlier on in the week, and I was looking at low blocks and just how pervasive they are across multiple leagues, multiple like international competitions, and just the frustration of teams trying to figure out how to beat them, and also just the frustration of fans having to watch this. And it just reminded me in the 90s of hockey and Minnesota and the neutral zone trap, or all these different things which just seem to stifle gameplay and just lead to something that's very, very boring to watch. And what's happened in other sports, and I'm looking at hockey just because that for me was the comparable, is that led to rule changes, getting rid of two-line passes or, all these other different things in order to open up the game. So I wanted to kind of throw out the question is, if low blocks aren't going anywhere to stay and it's affecting multiple teams across multiple leagues and fans are just fed up and frustrated with it, is the solution a rule change in some way?
What would you change? That thing.
Well, and that's the one thing I'm trying to figure out.
That you can play 10 blocks.
Well, I mean, think of it back in the day when people were frustrated about goalkeepers scooping up the ball, because goalkeepers used to be able to use their hands on the ball anywhere in the pitch, right? So by restricting it to the 18-yard box, I mean, that was going to be the end of the game. Everyone was angry and up in arms. It made the game better. So I do wonder if you need some sort of like innovative change where maybe it just hasn't been thought of yet, to try and open up teams so that you don't have them sitting back and you end up where fans are just bored out of their minds.
Yeah, I just can't really
like I'm saying, I'm throwing this out there fully knowing I don't have a solution, but I do wonder if somewhere in the dark recesses of, maybe Arsene Wenger's FIFA developmental committee, they're looking at this.
Maybe, but there's nothing wrong with parking 10 guys in the box. But
there is no, that's what I'm saying, is there is no rule against it.
It's terrible to watch, but still.
But I mean, there was nothing wrong against the neutral zone trap in hockey either. They still changed.
Yeah, I mean, the rule didn't really change. Teams just started to be more creative.
They got rid of the two-line pass.
And that too.
Right? They did make a rule change.
I guess as the game evolves, like, coaches will need to learn how to be more, their attack to be more creative, to be more faster. Like for the Whitecaps, having Bruno Caicedo back when it comes to personnel.
Huge. And it was nice to see him back. And again, not a big sample size in terms of how long he was on the pitch. I don't even know if he was on for maybe just over 10 minutes. But the number of break-ins that he had down the byline, cutting it back inside, looking for someone, he had about 3 in his first 5 minutes. And the problem was just finding someone inside that 6-yard box that could attack the balls that he was putting in. And again, this goes back to your point. You have 10 opposition players inside their own box. It's tough to get an attacking player on one of those balls.
Yeah, I think make me think more about Lorenz's thinking to shoot. Like, try to get it through the crowd, maybe not to score a screamer, but to have it blocked or have it get a rebound off the goalkeeper so someone can parry it.
There is that too, right? I mean, less going for the shot, going for the low. I don't even know. You don't want to cut it all across, but just a low, dangerous ball, seeing if it, pinballs around and gets on at the end of someone's foot, right?
Yeah, and this is where a tall target man striker is needed to break down low blocks. Or a striker that's very good in the air. Ryan Luby doesn't have the best aerial ability.
Well, we know Ryan White does. I mean, remember last year?
Ryan White does, but he's out.
The percentage of goals that he had from his head was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and of course, people are still calling for a backup striker, which there's Kwasi Poku, but he's injured.
He is injured, but the thing is you also have Illumi. You also have Sabi that can play there. Sheikh Sabali, who is a striker as well. You have multiple guys that can take on that role. Right now, it's just the fact that you have so many injuries in your wings and in your 10 and everything else that it limits who you can use in a 9. You bring in another striker.
I would like that.
But the thing is once you have your squad that you have right now healthy, the striker you bring in doesn't even make the bench. So
maybe a Lowton.
Why?
Speaking of strikers.
Right? Like, you're looking for a guy for such a short-term issue, and I don't think you find a player that does that unless you're looking in your own academy.
Yeah, or again, alone. But remember Nicolas Florio-Chateau? He's scoring goals with Atletico Ottawa, he just signed there.
Yeah.
Wonder. Too bad the Whitecaps let him go a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know. He had that loan that was in Finland for a while. Unfortunately, not much really,
kind of what they need, actually. Big body striker.
They just let him go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd like to see Golden Muller there more, but obviously with schedule and injuries.
I'd love to see it too. It's not going to happen right now.
Yeah, probably they won't start together this weekend, I think.
No.
So, but they will be together like in the second half. It's just one of the same issues. Like this team can't break a block and has trouble scoring goals. Like where are they gonna find them? Like Jesper Sorensen said, like nothing really needs to change when I asked him. It's just execution.
Yeah. I mean, right now, when you took going back to the rotation, everything, Whitecaps play every 3 to 4 days right now up until the end of September 19th on that Saturday. Yeah. After that is, I think, the first weekend or the first week where they don't have a midweek game. So this is going to go on for another month.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a look at their schedule, especially in September when CanChamp games.
Exactly, right.
Oh, they have a week off next week because they don't play until the 29th, which is a Saturday in Kansas City.
You're right. There is one there. You're right. There is one there.
So that could help. Yeah, speaking of next games, we got FC Dallas coming to town
tomorrow. FC Dallas has been doing pretty decently in the last little bit. They're on a 2-game win streak, most recently playing Austin FC in on the road, and I believe they also had a road win against RSL. Dallas, not a bad season so far. They're sitting 5th in the West.
Yeah, better than last season. Peter Musa is the Golden Boot leader.
16 goals
so far. He did score in the World Cup too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're more attack-minded. They do like to go on the transition, but they can sit back if needed, but not to the extent Houston did.
Also, one thing that's really, really helped them is bringing in Jonathan Serrault, Canadian goalkeeper, has done very, very well for them.
Yeah, and Anderson Julio as well, former RSL guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the big guy is Peter Musa.
Yeah.
Who the Whitecaps have to stop. And this is a team that does concede goals. Like, this conceded 3 against Lake. They conceded 3 in the League's Cup as well. So the opportunity is there to get back on the score sheet for the Whitecaps. It remains to be seen whether Brian White will be fit for selection. Same with Jeevan Badwal. We'll probably get an update later today after they're recording this. So Whitecaps Dallas on Saturday. Whitecaps.
One thing we should mention with the Whitecaps is they have made a new signing. Colombian defender Sebastian Ramirez on loan from the Primera A side Fortaleza. This is going to go through to the end of June 2027. So the end of that sprint season that will be coming up here next year. There is, I believe, an option to buy.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait on that. Can play as a central midfielder, can also play as a defensive midfielder. Again, another player that's coming in, another young player coming into that position, like we have also with I'm gonna have to learn how to pronounce his name, the new guy that we got from Serbia. But you now have
getting his visa.
You now have a midfield that has a lot of options to choose from. So that is going to take a little bit of pressure off Oliver Larraz and some of the things that he's been doing. Again, guy that's got a bundle of energy. He's going to be the same at 0 as he is to 90, but can also just use a bit of a break.
Yeah, so Ramirez is 21. He's Colombian, but he was. I think I made the visa process a lot easier. Yeah, and very similar profile to Ralph Priso. Center back, can also play a midfielder, but this guy's naturally a center back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one to watch for the future. Some big news regarding the second team. Walter Sedin, the son of Canucks legend, current co-president Henrik Sedin, has signed for the second team. Unlike his father, he chose soccer instead of hockey. Young midfielder with potential, and has said that his idol is N'Golo Kante, and one to watch for the future. Who knows? He can make the first team.
I wouldn't mind an N'Golo Kante-like player. That's for sure.
Yeah, maybe Walter is the successor to Andres Kubas. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, right?
And yeah, we got Dallas on the weekend. We'll both be there at BC Place. Then after that, they travel to Sporting Kansas City. Be interesting to see what the lineup looks like, if any players are coming back. And please, they need to score goals. That's the thing, because goals win games.
Yeah. Chances attempted is nice, but honestly, I just want to see them hit 3 to 5 on target.
Yeah, they need to test Serwa.
Yeah, they do.
Or whoever the goalkeeper will be. And contain Melissa.
Moving on, you take a look at this new potential playoff system that MLS is looking at. This is one of the most convoluted things I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up here. So MLS is planning to expand its playoffs yet again with the calendar change. And too many teams make the playoffs in MLS already.
Yep.
But they want to expand the playoff system to 20 teams, which is really insane. And from the way it looks like every team makes the playoffs. So what's the point of the regular season?
Right.
And the whole
you
thing
end up with
is
a 30-odd game preseason.
Yeah, the whole thing is just very, very, very confusing. And it was apparently inspired by Aussie Rules football.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up here, because it just looks weird. MLS says, we want to be taken seriously as one of the best football leagues in the world, but then you do stuff like this.
Is this Garber's final present to MLS before he steps down in January?
Or might be Larry Berg's first plan of action. So 20 teams, one table, top 8 double chances, which sounds like a card game, and it's reseeded round. I can't always zoom in here. Here. Image new tab. So seeds 13 to 20 open in the play-in. 4 winners survive to meet seeds 9 and 12 in the wild card round. Top 8 get a double chance in round 1. Winning, you go straight to the quarterfinals. Losing, you drop to round 2. So there's like a loser wild card round.
Yeah.
Every round from the wild card is reseeded. The highest surviving seed draws the lowest and hosts the match, which it's very confusing.
I'm wondering what in MLS led them to believe this was necessary. What was necessary to change the current playoff format? And if you're going to change the playoff format, why was it to have more teams when you already have a bloated playoff?
Yeah, I mean, playoff format is fine as it is, other than the first round best of 3, which nobody likes.
Yeah. With this
just
playoff,
I
mean, with this playoff,
really
when you have 2/3 of your entire league making the playoffs in a 30-team league, that's way too much. If you have, I don't know, a league of 8 teams and 6 make the playoff, okay, fine, I'll buy that.
Yeah,
but when you have 30 teams and this many, your playoffs are going to last, what, 2.5 months? I don't understand this.
Thankfully, this is the final proposed plan
Yeah.
for
As far as I know, it's
starting
it's just
next
a
year.
proposal. Initially reported, at least where I saw it, I think it was a beat reporter with Nashville, but I think this one needs to go back on the cooker for a little bit.
If we're up to me, we bring back like 6 to 8 teams per conference, makes the playoffs, knockout, single game knockouts, with the exception of the first round being
I'd be fine with that.
2 legs.
I'd be fine if it was 6 teams.
Yeah.
There needs to be an absolute desire to move up the table. But if you're just playing for mediocrity to get to, say, 8th, no. Make it like it. You shouldn't have. It should be less than half of the teams in your league.
Yeah, half or
30
less than
teams.
half.
It should be at least less than half.
Yeah. So yeah, top 6. If it were 6 per conference, the playoffs would go by really quick. Like if you want to, unless you want to make the first round 2 legs, which I'd be totally fine with.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, I'm visualizing how this works. Oh yeah, so 6 teams per conference. That's the quarterfinals. Then you get the semis. Oh yeah, then the final.
Yeah, it's you need a degree to figure it out anyway.
Yeah, you need like a PhD to figure out this plan MLS has. But yeah, that's MLS. The Vancouver Rise are back in the win column. 2-1 win over Halifax Tides. Big 3 points to keep pace on the playoff chase. Back to back 4. Jessica DiFilippo grabs a brace again, a leading scorer in the NSL, and she got the winner.
This is a brace for DiFilippo in 2 games in a row. So I mean, I think she's got 8 goals in the season, or 9 goals in the season, but 4 have come in the last 2 games. It was a decent game. It was a tough first half to watch. It was a little bit slow. Second, Tides went up early in the 18th minute through Rhodes. When you had the injection of Latifa Abdu into the lineup, she came in on the left to play alongside DiFilippo at the top. Definitely, it changed things. Both goals very, very similar. Anna Bout assisted on the first, Abdu assisted on the second. Both balls coming in from long crosses from the left. DiFilippo gets onto her feet inside the 18-yard box, uses her strength. She is not a player you will knock off the ball, and she's one of the stronger. She's one of the stronger strikers you'll see in the league. Able to hold the ball, gain position, put it into the back of the net. Went late, 94th minute for the game winner. So it was really, really nice to see that. This is one of those games where if you would have lost, your playoff hopes are almost done. Because if they would have lost, they would have been 9 points behind the Tides for that final playoff spot. Win this, they're only 2 points behind that final playoff spot. So still a lot to play for in this game. Other of note, Kayla Hansen, one of the new players they just signed in that week, started the match on the back line. This shows you just how depleted the Rise are in terms of injuries. You know, like you think the Whitecaps injuries, the Rise are right up there as well. So to see her go in, and one of the things I really, really liked is she was marshaling that back line very, very quickly. She's calling out positions. She's pointing at spaces for the other players there. This is a player that has experience in the NSL already. She had played previously 24 matches with AFC Toronto. Before that, she was coming from Finland, playing over there. But I thought it was really, really nice to see. We also got to see Alexandria Lamontagna, and I believe I'm butchering that last name, but another player that was just recently signed came in at the hour mark for her first minutes with the Rise as well. So really, really, and also nice to see Kennedy Faulkner coming back from a long injury spell. Finally,
long injury.
Only 4 minutes, but it's nice to finally see some of those players coming back, getting a few minutes. Heading over to Ottawa, where they will take on the Ottawa Rapid, top team in the league. The Rapid will be without DB Pridham, though, who is suspended for this match.
Yeah, that's big.
Definitely
He always lights up the
an
rise.
opportunity. And if I am correct, Rapid also just lost their last match
I believe they did
against
too.
Calgary, the bottom team in the league. So there is definitely the opportunity to, further not only Ottawa's problems, but to get back into the playoff picture for the Rise. So a very, very important win. If they would have lost that, this season would have been, in my mind, done. Other than that, we can move over to some news when it comes to men's players on the Canadian men's national team side. There is still the potential for a lot of movement happening before the summer transfer window ends. One that has happened is Promise David. He's joined Brighton in the Premier League on a season-long loan. There is the possibility for an obligation to buy if certain criteria are met. I think this is a great move for Promise David. Brighton is a side that
a great
has a good track record at developing players.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is a great move for him. They need someone to replace Danny Welbeck up top.
Yep.
They still have Pascal Grohl too, but Promise David, he deserves this move. We've seen that he can impress with Union SG and with Canada. He did score in the World Cup. And this is someone that could help Brighton with their push for Europe. I believe they have Conference League or Europa League this year. He can help with that too. And yeah, Brighton got a good one. So all the best of luck to Promise at Brighton, which I hope he doesn't score against Chelsea, but he did.
Really, really hoping. Yeah.
And Nathan Saliba has been linked to a move from Anderlecht to Villarreal. They see him as a top target according to Belgium media. So if this is possible, he can join Tani Oluwaseyi and Tajon Buchanan.
It would be a phenomenal move. It would be a very, very quick move for Saliba because he hasn't spent a lot of time in Belgium. So if this comes to fruition, the trajectory on his progression is phenomenal.
Yeah, impressed at the World Cup as well. Yep. And he's played pretty much every game with Anderlecht this past season, I believe.
Anderlecht's a good team.
So it's not like this guy was running on the bench. He was actually making an impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's Jonathan David. Juventus are pretty much praying that he leaves because it just really hasn't worked out.
No.
He's been linked to a move back to France with PSG and in England with Aston Villa.
I'd rather him move. I have questions about how much playing time he'd get in the Premier League.
That's the thing with PSG. Because they signed
with PSG as well. But the thing is he is a recognizable name from his time with Lille in Ligue 1. So with PSG, I almost think that he might have a greater chance of playing than he would in the Premier League with Aston Villa. Now, I know Aston Villa is looking potential for replacements.
But they're going to get rid of Watkins.
Yeah, it seems to be just a matter of time. I have questions on whether or not he has that strength to play in the Premier League.
That's the
wait and see. I'm still holding out hope. This one is an interesting one. We had talked about for the possibility of Alistair Johnson and whether or not he will end up moving to. I know Everton has been looking at him for a long time. Will he? And with the possibility that Celtic has been looking at Nico Seeger, another Canadian, to move in and take his place. Alistair Johnson is now injured, unfortunately. The latest I have seen is that he could be out for up to 6 weeks. So I don't know if you're going to see that movement happen just yet. But there is the possibility that for the whole of Johnson moving to the Premier League, whether or not Nico Seeger is now the guy that they look possibly for that, rather than Seeger being the guy that replaces Johnston at Celtic. Have to wait and see. Moving over to Europe, we've got our two teams that we obviously always look at. Tottenham had a back-to-back matches with Hoffenheim. Again, 1 win, 3-0 win, and then a 2-2 draw. Richarlison, and then Mikey Moore with a brace. This is a guy that had been on loan with Celtic last year, was Scotland's Young Player of the Season. We'll have to wait and see whether or not he goes out on loan again. I actually really hope that Mikey Moore stays around. But when you're looking at possibility of bringing in another striker, you also still have Richarlison on the squad, Solanke on the squad. We'll talk about Marmouche. Dane Scarlett is still around. A move for Mikey Moore might make sense in order just to get him to still be continually playing. Then you have 2-2 draw. Ben Davies popping out of nowhere to get a goal. This is a guy that, he's part of the furniture at Tottenham already. Like, this guy will get his testimonial when he decides one time to leave, and who knows, probably join the coaching staff at some point. And then Williams Barnett, the young kind of wonder kid on the Tottenham squad that has been doing great. Really started making a name for himself in Australia when he popped up at the very beginning of the preseason, but he also pops up on the score sheet here as well. Moves. Vicario has gone out on loan to Juventus. Season-long loan. This is good. It gets him off the books. Kinski is kind of your default number one, which I'm actually happy with. I think he definitely deserves.
He needs this one.
Yeah, Vicario needs to move back to Italy, and Kinski deserves to fight for that spot and make it his. Forget about what happened in Champions League last year.
That was just a one-off, yeah.
It was a one-off. Every game that he did after that, he was a big part of Tottenham staying in, and is kind of De Zerbi's guy in that number one shirt. So I'm really happy about that. Jed Spence moving to Inter Milan for £30 million.
That's not bad.
I wish Spence would have stayed. I wanted him to be that cover for Pedro Porro on the right-hand side. Spence obviously wants to be playing game in, game out. Tottenham couldn't guarantee that. So who ends up being the backup for Spence? It's looking, in all likelihood, it's going to be Archie Gray. We know that he can play there. It's definitely not his number one position. He'd rather be playing in the midfield. But when you brought in Tonali, you brought in Fernandez, you've got all these other players, we'll have to wait and see. If you want Gray to be playing, this is probably where he ends up slotting in. And the Christian Romero saga is now done. 45 million pound deal to Atletico Madrid. It
just fits so well. He's just an Atletico coded player.
Yeah, it's a good move. In his parting comments, Romero did say that this last season probably was not his best. And he did put a lot of the ownership of that on himself, which was nice to see. He is a guy that I still do like. He needs to worry about his temper a little bit because he can lose his head, but it is a nice move for a fitting player. Now for the incomings. So
this just came out. Well, one part came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
one was expected.
First off, Savinho. This has been, the writing on the wall, waiting for this to happen. Will it? Won't it? It looks like it is now happening. The Spurs have agreed to a £75 million deal to bring him in, with a potential of up to 10 million in add-ons. So it looks like this is done. It's now just pending a medical. The deal for the player had been done weeks ago. It was dealing with Man City. And it looks like there is the possibility of Omar Marmouche coming in, which kind of came out of nowhere. It could move the potential transfer fee in total to Man City for both players to about 140 and 150 million pounds. If they get this over the line, it does seem like it kind of quashes any further movement for Cody Gakpo from Liverpool. It would just be too much to bring in all of these players. Now, what it does is it leaves Tottenham pretty bloated up top.
Yeah, you got Kulusevski, Madison, Simmons, Kudus.
Yeah. Now, Kudus still come back from injury. Kulishevsky, we'll have to wait and see after he didn't play at all last season. Madison did come back for the last, 2-3 matches. We'll have to wait and see how good he is when you actually give him a full 90 minutes and whether or not he can handle it. Simmons is probably out till November. So,
forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But if they get this done, this is a very, very frightening attack. But you still have to get all these players to gel, right? It's going to take time to see how that happens. Now, on top of that, probably the biggest news, and let's be honest, like Marmouche kind of came out of nowhere and is big news, but probably the biggest news coming out of Tottenham this week is rumors of a 15-year deal with Nike for stadium naming rights. Since Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has been built, there has been talk about naming rights. Nothing has ever happened. If this happens, it seems to be a deal worth about £75 million per year over 15 years. That works out to about £1.1 billion. It would be the largest deal of its kind in global sport, not just football, in sport. So this is potentially huge and just further adds to the amount of money that Tottenham all of a sudden find themselves being able to deal with. Again, because of the stadium. So we'll have to wait and see. We've been down this path before with possibility of naming rights with Nike. With Amazon. We've been down this path with Nike. That ended up turning out to being working on their jerseys. But now we've kind of come full circle with Nike again. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen. Next game will be this weekend where the Premier League
is back.
Started
today.
Brentford. So 3 points, make it happen.
Yep. So here's Chelsea as well, who are also starting their Premier League season. They did wrap up the preseason with a 3-1 win over Real Sociedad at Stamford Bridge. Morgan Rogers got his first unofficial Chelsea goal, and João Pedro scored twice. And he scored 7 goals in preseason? I know it's preseason, but Ancelotti really didn't take this guy to the World Cup.
How many goals did he have in the entirety of last year?
15 in Premier League, but I think it was about 20 in all competitions.
He's kind of picking up where he left off.
Yeah. Speaking of João Pedro, he has changed his jersey number from number 20 to number 9. Anyone who knows about Chelsea knows that number is cursed. Because anyone since Hasselbank was worn it, with the exception of Tammy Abraham, has just been poor. And I don't want to go through all the names.
The number 9. Well, there you go.
Well, if he could break the curse, by all means.
Yeah.
Because he has the tools, and he has the ability, and he is a great finisher. Please break the curse. Please. And I really hope the curse doesn't get to João Pedro as well. Oh, yeah, and there's the ongoing Enzo Fernandez saga. Xabi Alonso insists he will stay, since City failed to meet the deadline last week. But Enzo Maresca still wants him. He's wanted him for weeks. But City are still talking to Enzo Fernandez's agent, Javier Pastore. So it's another will he, won't he, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So I still think he stays. Especially since City are now looking after Kone, not Ishmael Kone, Mano Kone from Roma.
Yeah.
So I just want the saga to end and let him play football. Let him silence his critics.
Let him just play football and stop all the other stuff so that people not necessarily forget the other stuff, but have enough time to hopefully let himself be redeemed.
Yeah, and of course, rival fans will be mocking him for the World Cup, but it's up to him to silence his doubters and maybe do whatever this celebration was.
Well, right now he's got his own fans booing him.
Yeah, but then the other half were cheering for him.
Yeah.
Speaking of departures, Nicholas Jackson is on his way out. He's been linked to Spurs. He's been linked to Aston Villa, which could be the replacement for Watkins. Seems they really want him. And now Atletico Madrid.
There you go.
He's open to return to Spain, and Atletico Madrid's sporting director is in London hoping to get a deal done.
Does this all depend on Julian Alvarez?
It won't affect Julian Alvarez, who I still think is staying at Atletico against his wishes.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It looks like Arsenal has joined that fight.
Yeah. Chelsea still value him at 65 million, which today's standards isn't really that much.
In the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like Jackson
The
is
Premier
on his
League
way
tax.
out. Fortunately, because I would like to keep him, but with Welbeck in and Emmanuel Omega, that Strasbourg striker, there's no room for him.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Xabi Alonso wants him either. So, Axel Disasi has agreed to join Crystal Palace on loan, but there's no option or obligation. See ya. Unfortunately, he'll be another problem next year. Unless he does really well and they want to sign him. Speaking of defenders, Aston Villa is looking at Tosin as a potential replacement for Ezri Konsa, who just signed for Arsenal. Yeah, just get rid of this guy. I don't care where. Get a fee anyway. It just isn't good enough for Chelsea. I guess Villa would suit him well. Mamadou Sarr, who I totally forgot about, that Senegalese center back who also played in the World Cup. They've been looking to shop him out, and Al Hilal want him. How much, we don't know. And speaking of Al Hilal, they apparently agreed personal terms with Pedro Neto, which just came out of nowhere. But Chelsea value him at £100 million, which there's no way he's worth that much.
Yeah.
And they see him as an elite winger, which he isn't. But if you can get a 60, 70 million plus for Pedro Neto, you might as well take it.
I remember back in the day when Spurs were trying to get him.
Yeah, and Neto can play wingback. He looked good as a wingback this preseason, but just if you can get rid of him, free up some space on the wages and on the roster, might as well. I mean, 60, 70 million for Pedro Neto, why not? If somehow Al Hilal pays 100 million, Chelsea really would solidify that they're the best-selling club in the world. So let's see where this goes with Pedro Neto. Well, it looks like he will stay for now. And then there's Liam Delap, who has been bomb squatted. Nottingham Forest and Everton want him. They could cough up 40 million for him, but Chelsea still value him at 50. I'll take 40. That's a 10 million pound profit for a guy has just sucked at Chelsea. And then Stamford Bridge will be hosting Champions League matches this season. Shakhtar Donetsk, obviously with their problems with their stadium and the conflicts and all that, will be using Stamford Bridge for their Champions League matches. So,
yeah,
this will be weird, but at least Champions League comes to Stamford Bridge.
Obviously, I mean, Shakhtar Donetsk hasn't played in their actual stadium for a number of years. They even play in the Ukrainian league. They've been playing in Kyiv. But, I mean, at some point, you hope they get back to Donetsk. It's just, many other things need to happen first.
Yeah, the conflict just keeps dragging. So
it does.
Anyway, we mentioned the Premier League is back today. Actually, less than an hour as we're recording this. Arsenal will kick off the season against Coventry.
There you go.
So let's preview and predict the Premier League season. I have Arsenal winning the title again.
So do I.
Because that defense is just so hard to break down.
Now, the one thing that could change is remember how lethal Arsenal was, but also just the antics they did when it came to set pieces.
Yeah.
Premier League wants to crack down on that this year. So if they are effective in cracking it down, a very big tool in Arsenal's kit can be mitigated. That could change things. But, whether or not, in Premier League, are they going to do anything? Or are they going to just end up being toothless? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah. Well, it would also help for them if Victor Gyökeres figures out to score more consistently. Or maybe they can buy Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
See how that Solis guy does on the wing. Top four for me, Arsenal, Man City, despite their issues, I still think they'll figure it out. Chelsea in third and Man United in fourth, with Liverpool being fifth.
Arsenal, Man City, I do have second, but I do have significant reservations over how well Maresca is going to endear himself to that squad.
Yeah,
I know everyone says that he's a Pep Guardiola disciple, but he is not a man manager like Pep Guardiola.
No,
right? He doesn't endear himself to players, and if there's any sort of rift, that could derail an entire season. I have Chelsea in third. Fifth is going to be a toss-up for me, and I agree with you with Man United, but I am also going to put Spurs up there because if everything, and right now to me, right now Spurs is a huge question mark. They have had such wholesale change where it could take forever to figure it out, or it could click. And if it clicks, this is a Champions League team.
Oh, definitely.
So
they're my surprise team.
Fair enough. I would say they are my surprise team to go up. My other surprise team, and I'm going to say maybe surprise region, is the northeast of England. I think the northeast of England, when it comes to Newcastle and Sunderland, are in for a bit of a reckoning this year. Newcastle is already, we've seen the problems of last year. Well, that's just going to continue. But Sunderland, I don't think that they've done enough with their squad to be able to handle the increased number of games that they're going to have with Europe. I think that there could be, I don't think they're going to get relegated, but I think they might flirt with it.
Yeah, same. I don't think they've really made any signings or any signings of note. I also have Fulham flirting with relegation as well, despite, Arbeloa, the former Real Madrid guys that he brought in.
Yep.
I think the loss of Raul Jimenez would definitely hurt them.
My other kind of
really
surprise package, and I don't know if you want to call it surprise, is I believe Coventry will survive.
If of all the newly promoted
all the teams that got promoted, I think Coventry could survive.
They have the highest chance of surviving out of all three. I wouldn't be surprised if they stay up too.
That is the one team that I think could be very good. Other than that, though, the other two teams that came up, and
Ipswich
that's escaping me. Yeah, Ipswich.
I think everyone can agree Hull will finish last. Sucks for Liam Miller, though.
Yeah, between Hull and Ipswich, but I don't rate Hull all that highly. Yeah, I agree.
Nobody does.
No,
really. So we got our surprise and disappointing teams. Yeah, Sunderland's my potential disappointment. Spurs, obviously, my surprise.
Yeah.
I think Golden Boot will go to Erling Haaland again. Though João Pedro could challenge him for the Golden Boot, but I don't think he'll win it.
Again, I think a lot of what's going to dictate... Haaland's going to score goals no matter what, but is he going to be as prolific? That's up to Maresca.
Maresca's system is very slow. And
I'm sorry, but... I don't know what Man City is going to be like with this head coach. Man City is still Man City. They're a phenomenal team. They're going to do well, but are they going to be Pep Guardiola well? And I don't see that.
I don't think so either, but you never know. But yeah, when it comes to City, I still have them in second, but there's still so many questions. I think Chelsea can challenge for the title if all
I have them in second as well, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop down to say fourth. Man City is going to be a Champions League team at the end of the season. They're going to finish in a Champions League spot. Second to fourth, I don't know. For me, it is a bit of a toss-up. I do have them in second.
After the title, between second and sixth, it's toss-up.
Yeah. When you throw in second and fifth, I got to say, I have problems with Liverpool this year. Next year could be very interesting for Liverpool, and we'll get to that.
But the thing with Liverpool is, will Isak and Wirtz get back to form? How will they do with Araujo on their back line? Because he's such a chaos.
That's a very good question. That is a very good question.
I heard they signed that Munoz guy as well, but other than that, nothing really moves the needle.
They're quiet.
They're very, very quiet. I mean, I don't know what FSG's doing. They spent so much last year, and this year they're like, "Now we're good."
Well, I'll tell you what FSG has been doing. They've been selling a big percentage of their share to
Yep.
a group which includes Amazon
Jeff Bezos.
founder Jeff Bezos. Now, there's been a little bit of confusion with this. Initially, we were told that they were going to be selling a third of FSG was going to be selling a third to a group called 1892 Holdings. That is a kind of the holding group where there's a number of people that are involved in it. Edward
1892 is
Saverin,
the year
former
Liverpool was
co-founder
founded,
of Facebook, is a part of this. There is also, the group is led by a British Indian multimillionaire named Amit Bhatia. So there is a number of people that are involved in this. Now, then we were told instead it's not going to be a third, it's going to be 30%. Well, now that the paperwork is done, it's actually 38%. So there is a little bit of confusion as to what the stake was going to be and whether or not FSG was actually trying to downplay the sale of shares in Liverpool. It's kind of a weird one. There's also going to be questions about what this does to the board. So Jeff Bezos will not be a part of the board at Anfield. Who will be Bhatia will be on the board, as he's the one who leads 1892 Holdings. He's also going to be the club's vice chairman. Also going to be on the board is Saverin's wife, Elaine. She will be joining the board as well. So an injection of money, a lot of money coming into Liverpool. Obviously, we're very, very late in the transfer window to really see if a lot of stuff is going to be happening. January, maybe, but I think next year we could see some big changes coming Liverpool's way.
Yeah, we will. And again, it'll be interesting to see whether they, qualify for the top 4, top 5 race. Speaking of ownerships, Sheffield United is in ownership trouble again, and they're already, having a points deduction.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a saga that's just dragged on and on and on. So what happened is COH Sports Bidco Limited had agreed to purchase the club for about £100 million back in December of 2024. Unfortunately, they still owe about £35 million of that deal. So a winding up petition was filed against them last month. This could lead to a 12-point deduction in the championship table. Sheffield United, we're talking about the oldest professional club, right? Yeah. And this just keeps going on and on and on. I don't know. I feel for the fans because how can you feel anything but just despondent?
Yeah, because it's just issue after issue after issue. And speaking
and it's the same issue. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah. It's this corporation that owns them is pretty much going bankrupt. Whatever the corporation is called. And over to Malaysia, Johor Darul Tazim, a Malaysian side who played Chelsea in their preseason, has set a new world record after going 109 games unbeaten in the league.
Yeah, so they have now got the longest unbeaten streak in league play in the world. They surpassed an Ivorian club, ASEC Mimosas, who had, 108 match undefeated league back in the 1990s. So this was a record that had stood for a couple of decades. Now, Johor has taken it over, and it's not ended anytime soon. So they could keep going.
Yeah.
I like stories like that. I just find them really interesting.
Yeah, probably a good FIFA manager, or not FIFA, football manager save.
Which you can play in the Malaysian league. I think you can at least play the first division on the base, and then probably other ones if you get all the different leagues.
Because the AFC is so terrible because they lost the rights to all the Asian leagues they had, like the J League. Very terrible. One last thing here. So FIFA's disciplinary committee implements player bans after the World Cup final, which Argentina tried to fight Spanish players during and after the game.
Yeah. So right now, just so you know, they've only ruled on the players so far. We don't know if this means they might come up with additional sanctions on the national federations. But as far as players go, 5 players have been handed bans and fines. We'll start with Spain. 1 player, Xavi, 1 game ban, a $30,000. This is in US dollars, a $30,000 fine for his part in everything. Ayala, a 3-game ban and a $30,000 fine. Almeida, 1 game ban, $30,000 fine. Molina, 7-game ban, $90,000 fine. And the big one, the guy who was the ringleader, Paredes, a 10-match ban, $90,000 fine. Now, these are all just for national team games. These don't bleed into the individual players' leagues. These are just for when they are called to represent country. One thing I thought was interesting is that I do wonder, is $90,000 the maximum fine that you can give? And that's why they were just looking for extra games. So $90,000, I mean, for a Paredes, that's what, a week's wages?
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
Yeah, he was the guy who was like pushing that Spanish player to the ground at the final whistle.
Yeah, he was the one throwing punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? On one, I am happy that this did happen relatively quickly to the end of the World Cup final.
Yeah,
it was. But my big question is what's going to happen to the actual federation? I don't.
Maybe they're still working on that.
You're going to see much happen to the Spanish Federation, but the Argentinian Federation,
yeah, definitely,
might still be working on it. My guess is that it is a little bit more convoluted when you're dealing with federations rather than players. Yeah, I don't think this is done by any means. I'm still curious to see where it's going to end up.
Yeah, so at least there's some discipline coming down on Argentina. Everybody hates Argentina now, unless you're an Argentina fan. Yeah, so that'll conclude this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Good to be back live on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, Joshua00, Nathan and Dirk, podcast Terminal City FC. We're on Instagram and YouTube as well. Click the Edge Runners referral link to see how you can get started on match betting and how you can make some profits. Obviously, that won't replace your full-time job or whatever, but it'd be good to make some little extra cash in these dire economic times. And check out all the other Sparks Podcast Network podcasts and the Hockey Podcast Network podcasts and all our writing for Area 51 Sports Network. That concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.